Hey guys, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws and BlueSaws.com. Hope everybody's doing all right. I made a couple videos. I have to post them still, but on a Neotech 660 kit, a new customer built, needed help with it, came to me. This is the saw where the muffler was gutted funny, and it was a younger fella doing it, and it's his first build. He did a pretty good job overall. What I wound up doing is I did the crank seal. The clutch needed new springs because they got heated up. Looks like the clutch bearing failed. So I did the worm gear, was melted into a mess in there. Let's see. We did worm gear, bearing, clutch springs, recoil, seal. What else did we do? I think that's about it. I wound up swapping out some bolts. Now, excuse me. Choking on my own spit. One of the things that I mentioned early on with this was the mix gas he had in there, and I'm going to ask him about it. Either it was, I don't know what kind of oil he was using, but it was mixed, I think, real heavy because it was the darkest green, almost black that I've ever seen. Don't have a problem with that. You know, whatever. I'd rather see him use premium oil, but whatever. There was definitely enough oil in there. Oh, dying, guys. But I also mentioned I thought maybe he was using used motor oil in his oiler. He was not. Absolutely was not. It was dark red bar oil, and there was only a little bit in the bottom, and what got me thinking that way was the PTO side was so dirty. When people run used motor oil, it gets disgusting in there. But what was really happening was the saw was running insanely rich to compensate for the air leak, so that was making a mess to begin with of, you know, half burnt fuel oil sludge coming out. And the crank seal was totally shot, so it was blowing right out of the case, right into everything, getting it dirty. So that's kind of what led me to believe that he was running used motor oil. We talked about my feelings on running used motor oil in the last video, and this will be the final video, I hope. I started the saw, I bench tuned it, I grabbed the barn chain that I had down here to throw on it. I'll make a couple cuts in this before I return it to him. It seemed like it was running just about fine. It has a bark box on it, sounds real good. Oh, I did wind up swapping out the back of that muffler just because I couldn't stand the mangling that was done. And I'm not trying to tease him or make him feel bad about that. Not even a little bit. He's trying to do something, move ahead with a project, may or may not have all the tools he needs, the guidance he needs, whatever else. Again, he got a saw together. When I see guys on Marketplace who bought a kit 3 years ago, never got to it, either they didn't have the time or the confidence to do it. He got the kit, he built the kit, he has a running saw. He just needed some help with, you know, seals, little things like that. And I'll talk to him about other things that he should know, where to spend money on a clone saw and where not to. I see, and I didn't look at it hard enough, but I thought he had an OEM decomp, which is fine. But to spend 25 bucks on an OEM decomp, it's a lot easier to plug that. And if I was going to spend money, I'd probably spend that 30 or 35 bucks on an OEM chain tensioner. I also wound up shimming the chain tensioner that was in there, doing the bushing mod on it, just so he gets more mileage out of it. And I've had really good luck with that bushing on them. We sell the kits there where we do the 660 chain tensioner with bushing, and I send you 2 bushings. I've gotten really good feedback on that, and over time, I'm not saying it turns it into an OEM chain adjuster. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you could get a respectable amount of life out of that chain tensioner once you mod it, and that's something you could do. I think I have a video on how to mod your own. If not, I sell the kit. What else? The dogs are mismatched, which I thought was odd. He's got the correct inner but the incorrect outer, which I'll look around and see if I have a dog for him too so they match, because it does have the roller chain catcher on the bottom. And one of the things a lot of fellas don't know, you can have a chain catcher on the saw itself. You could have the roller catcher, which goes in between the two dogs on the clutch cover and the saw itself. When you're running an outer dog, you should be running the roller chain catcher because it adds another pillar of support between the two dogs. That way, if you're starting to tweak it without it, I'm not going to say you're going to do this, but you're more prone to breaking that clutch cover. So it's a good idea if you're going to run two dogs, have the roller chain catcher. I'm going to start this up, and I guess I could just start it and warm it for 2 seconds and make a cut. And this wood here is just some maple that I had logs here. I had a bunch of guys over cutting, whatever, having fun. And instead of cutting little cookies off the very end of a log, somebody ran their chain halfway down the log and split. Like, there's another piece to this that I already split and moved out of the way. So what went from an 8-foot log, now I have a 4-foot log, and it's kind of pretty wood. And I'm gonna cut this off into little slabs like you see me do all the time. And if I don't like it, it'll be firewood. But if it's pretty, it's maple, it could be a cutting, it'll probably be firewood. But I like having them pretty ones around. Then I get an itch and it's been sitting for, well, maybe I'll do something with it. I've talked too much about that, and I know you don't want to hear about it no more. Let me start this saw up and see what we got. See if it even runs. See if I got this in there halfway decent. It started like 10 or 15 minutes ago, so. I can already hear I need to lean it out a little bit, but like I said, I tuned it without a bar and chain on it. Alrighty guys, I got a little more tuning in to do on that, and I knew I would. And you know, it's not going to be a full bulletproof saw, so it's not going to have that performance. I shouldn't expect that performance, but it's a nice running saw, and he did it himself. I don't know, not the prettiest stuff in the world. And listen, this burns real nice in the wood stove just the same, and if I get real bored up, do something with it. Anyhow guys, that's enough for today. True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws at bluesaws.com. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, fellas.